Hi, I'm Beth. This is Mindful Yoga with Yogi Beth C. That's me. I'm a yoga teacher and a clinical psychologist. So today's practice is going to be melt, massage, recline. Just 3 poses around those 3 words. We're going to melt by softening into a yin yoga pose that we're going to hold for a little bit of time. We're then going to massage with massage balls, and we'll target the area of the upper back and shoulders. And finally, we will recline into a rest pose where we'll let all of that release. So you will need a few props for this. 2 blocks for the first pose. Blocks aren't absolutely necessary. If you have them, that's nice. You could also substitute a blanket or something else. The balls are unique, and I like these rubber. They're called pinky balls. They're really inexpensive. Purchase them at any big box store. Some of you might have actual therapy balls. These are Jill Miller's yoga tune-up balls. You can steal a ball or 2 from your dog, so play around. These are dense, which is nice. Tennis balls work too if that's what you have. You can find what balls work for you. Let's get started with this practice. We're going to be kneeling, and we're going to be using the blocks as support under the arms. Again, blocks are not absolutely necessary. They help us melt a little bit more into the shoulder stretch. So if you're using the blocks, grab them and place them in front of you on the mat. And like most poses, you'll want to adjust to your body, not trying to fit your body into a shape that doesn't work for it. So we'll start in a kneeling position. We're going to come down toward all 4s. Our hips are going to stay up over our knees the whole time. I'm going to walk my blocks a little bit in front of me. So this is called melting heart, where the front body melts toward the mat. And there's a few ways you can practice. One is with the forearms on the blocks, and then you can allow the forehead to come down. So you're melting, you're softening the front body. If you're there and that works, stay there. Another way that can work really nice is elbows or upper arms on the blocks. Hands can come together, palms together. Same thing with the upper body. Melt the heart, the chest. Let the forehead move toward the mat. And then hands can stay out front or come to the back of the neck. And once again, you can do either of those versions without the blocks. I'll show that for a moment, and then we'll come into a position that's right for you, and we'll hold for a bit of time. So find your position. I'm going to resume using the blocks, and we'll hold this for maybe a minute or 2. Maybe you've already been there a minute. Giving our bodies a chance to release into this shape. Make sure you let your breath be natural and soft. Notice where you are feeling sensations. Encourage your body to melt into the sensations that you're feeling, to soften into gravity. If at any point the sensations feel too intense, adjust your body into a less intense version, a place where you can sustain. Let's take about 6 to 10 more breaths. When you're ready to come out, gently begin to use your hands, your arms. Slowly transition out of this intense pose. And you might want to take a moment to feel the effects. In Yin, we call this the rebound. It's sort of the echo of the pose. Perhaps you feel better able to get some breath in across your chest. That was a back bend, which means we open and create spaciousness across the front. So we'll move on to our upper back ball work. You might want to have one block nearby. You can move the other block out of your way. Take the block aside. So the balls are going to go into a couple positions on the upper back. I'm going to start toward my feet end of the mat so that I can roll back as we do some movements. So as I start down here, the opening spot for the blocks will be somewhere on the upper back. Now the placement absolutely does not need to be exact. You want the balls underneath you so gravity helps pressure down on the balls. We get to play around with exactly where that is. I'm going to place them so they're not right next to each other. They can be on either side of my spine. And then I have the ability to move my body around where they land. I might have to tuck them a little bit here and there. I like these rubber pinky balls because they don't roll away as much as tennis balls. They're a little bit more grippy than tennis balls, but you can use what works for you. All right, so when you find a place where you can corral the balls, and definitely feel free to tuck them under more or scoot your body a little bit. We have to be willing to play to find the right spot for the balls. You can breathe and stay. Now, a couple of caveats about this ball work. One, we go slow, so we have a chance to feel what sensations are happening, to notice what's going on in our bodies. We definitely don't want to move quickly. And we breathe. Now, if this already feels too intense on your body, get up and put the balls on the wall. You'll have to hold them there a little bit more. Once you lean your body back against them, you shouldn't have to hold them with your hands. You can do the same work against the wall. If this is feeling not so intense for you, you're not really feeling the placements of the balls, this is where you can grab your one block and place it under your hips for a little lift. So right there at the bottom of the spine, the place that we call the sacrum. And now you might feel that the extra gravity, this kind of reverse flow, helps you to find a little bit more pressure on the balls. So let's stay here and breathe for 3 to 5 breaths. Remembering that these opening moves, we're staying in complete stillness. And your hands can rest on your body, by your side. Even though I'm looking at you from time to time, your gaze is probably most comfortable toward the ceiling, keeping your neck neutral. Then we have the option of taking in some little small movements. One way we can do that is to use our feet to rock our body. And you may hardly see this. I'm pressing into my feet, moving my body up a little and down a little, but maybe only an inch or so in each direction. A tiny little self massage. And then you can also use your feet to rock your body a bit side to side. And then another option is to move your arms. As soon as you start to lift your arms toward the ceiling, again, that's going to put more pressure, more gravity on the balls. You can keep them straight overhead like this, closer together, wider apart, depending on how that feels. And this is a practice that's all about how it feels. You can bend at the elbows and dip your hands behind you. That's most likely going to feel a little bit more intense. You can also bend the arms into either a close hug or hold the elbows, reach away with your arms that way. And from any of these positions, you can take some small movements with the arms, just like we did with the legs. Side to side, perhaps a little up and down movement. Ooh, I'm really getting something with this one. And you'll know you're getting something when you're feeling that sort of that sweet sensation. I'll call it the hurt so good sensation, but of course it doesn't hurt. We're never going for pain. So if there's anything more sharp or stinging that feels like a red flag, then it is. Move out of that range. And your arms can also kind of float around every which way, but moving slow and stopping where you feel that Goldilocks amount of pressure. Even if your arms are one here and one here, if that's where it feels best for you, pause there. You're like a little statue. All right, then we're going to bring our arms down, come off the block. You're going to use your feet to push yourself in the direction of your head. So hopefully you left some space there. I left a little bit of space there, just a few inches. And as you do that, you notice that the balls will roll down your back a little bit. So we're doing just 2 ball positions today. It's anywhere along from the tops of your shoulders down to about the lower ribs, the mid back. Mine are, I would say, just above the bottom tips of the shoulder blade. And you might have to do a little readjustment by rolling side to side, maybe using your hands to manually find a placement for the blocks. Here in the mid back, this is a little bit of a back bend and quite a bit more pressure than when we had the balls up. So you probably don't need the block under your hips here. Continue to breathe and find or feel this new shape. And then here, I think you'll notice more by moving the arms rather than using the feet. So once again, you can reach the arms straight up overhead. You can touch them behind you. You can reach up and then retract around the balls a few times. Getting a little bit of motion in those balls. Or you might do kind of seaweed arms, letting them float and move until you find some spot, wherever that is. It might be with asymmetrical arms. When you find a spot that is speaking to you, stay there. All right, a few more breaths here. And then just as gently as we came out of the last pose, we'll start to roll our bodies to the side. Use your hands to help. help yourself out. And once again, take a moment for a little bit of rebound. You might feel much more circulation and sensation going on in your upper back. That's what we want. If you'd like, you can close your eyes for a moment and really take your attention inside. Okay, this is the final movement that we're going to do in our melt massage recline. This is the recline. So you can move your balls out of the way. Get your blanket. Your blanket is either going to be folded like I have now in pretty thick of a rectangle, or perhaps you take your blanket in more of a roll. You can even use a bolster like this. That's going to be more of a stretch in your recline. And I like a pretty relaxing recline at the end of the practice. So I'm going to use this sort of thick roll. We started with a heart opening or heart melting pose. The bolster roll is going to go right behind our heart, so in the back of the ribs. I'm going to scooch down to make sure I have room here. All right, so you can see how I'm positioning all the way at the bottom of my ribs so that my arms are over the blanket roll. And that's what we want here. We want this kind of little bit of back support similar to what we have with the balls. We're going to do this in a more reclined way. Now your arms can stretch out to either side in a T shape. They can also go overhead in a diamond shape or maybe a cactus shape. And then same with your legs. Your legs can stretch out. They can be in a diamond shape, butterfly, any configuration that you want. Since we're reclining and resting, I think I'm going to allow my legs to be long and my arms to be maybe almost in like a little V. That feels pretty supported and opening for me. Once you find your place, then we try to find stillness. And our hope is, as we cultivate stillness in the body, it will help us to begin to attain stillness in the mind. We allow the breath to be soft. This is a place where if it feels comfortable for you, it's ideal to let the exhales begin to be longer than the inhales. You could even add a little bit of a sigh to your exhale, breathing in, and then as you exhale, I'm going to stay here for a few more quiet breaths with you. Now you are welcome to stay as long as you'd like. If you find being here in this reclined release is restful, relaxing, rejuvenating for you, stay here as long as you'd like. If you're coming up with me, again, move slowly. I would recommend bending your knees if they're not already bent. Once again, moving toward one side, using your hands, helping yourself to come to an upright position. Last moments to take stock of what is going on, what sensations, what relaxation, whatever else you created in your body. Hopefully you feel more spacious in your upper body, better able to take deep breaths. If you like the ball rolling work, please let me know below if you want more ball videos. I have more yin videos to offer. Also try my mental health yoga series. I hope you enjoyed this, and please enjoy the rest of your day.